The UN has again denied the Epoch Times press coverage of the UN General Assembly 2025 held in New York, signaling Chinese Communist Party CCP's influence on the UN. The Epoch Times senior White House correspondent, M.L. Aiken, traveled to New York City on September 22nd to cover the activities of U.S. President Donald Trump and State Secretary Marco Rubio, but was denied entry. The reason given was that the Epoch Times was not a news organization, but a non-government organization. The Epoch Times editor-in-chief, Jasper Fackert, said in a statement on September 23rd, "The Epoch Times is America's fourth largest newspaper. It is unacceptable that the United Nations caves to the Chinese Communist Party's censorship efforts on American soil. We call on the United Nations to provide the Epoch Times with the press credentials it needs to do its job, which is to provide our readers with factual and impartial information." The UN also denied entry of press coverage of two staff members from NTD, the Epoch Times sister company, saying that they did not meet the requirements. The UN's denial of press coverage by the Epoch Times is a continuation of the CCP's silencing of independent voices of the media. The UN remains silent on Beijing's role in Russia's war against Ukraine. Trump said on September 23rd during the UN General Assembly that the UN has failed to perform its duties of maintaining international peace and security throughout the world. He has called out to Beijing, the largest buyer of Russian oil, to stop its purchases that are funding Russia's war against Ukraine. EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas, on July 2nd in a meeting in Brussels, told Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi to stop supporting the Russian military industry complex. SCMP reported that Yi told Kallas that Beijing does not want Russia to lose the war because it feared that the US would shift its focus to Beijing. The UN has also failed to call out the human rights abuses by the CCP. The Epoch Times was founded in 2000 in the US by Chinese Americans in response to censorship and human rights abuses in China. The first group of Epoch Times staff members in China were arrested and tortured, with several receiving 10-year prison sentences after exposing the CCP's persecution of practitioners of Falun Gong, a spiritual practice. The persecution of Falun Gong practitioners by the CCP was exposed by the China Tribunal in 2019 after an extensive investigation.